and you can also call me Linjia if you cannot pronounce J in Chinese. And I'm the second year PhD student from University of Washington. And today my topic is about toward a further differentiation of Old Chinese as Coda. So before I started, so I try to give the definition of the postcoda, which I will use in my whole presentation. So before to give the definition of the postcoda, I try to review the definition of the pre-initial from the 2014's Reconstructions. So in that book, it said the Old Chinese words had main initial consonant and sometimes a pre-initial. And there are some examples. So one is the tightly and another is the loosely. So the pre-initial is some elements attached in front of the main syllable, but not the inside part of it. So I think there may be a postcoda. It's a kind of elements attached before the main syllable, like in my reconstruction. So maybe it's about the follow the main syllable. So so the qùshēng is derived from earlier S, and this is widely accepted by the lots of scholars. And so in the past research, there are only S coda and some cluster like like this. So my new proposal of my study is that I want to give the further separate to these two kinds of groups. One is only have the coda S, and another is kind of postcoda. So the traditional is only has the S coda. But in my reconstruction, I try to separate them into two different groups. So that's the overall of my dissertation, and I will go for the details. So there are two steps of the new reconstruction. The first one is try to separate them. So there are two groups. I try to prove that there are two groups. They are different. And the second step is give the reconstruction for the phonetic value. So about the first step, how to separate. I have three evidence. The first one is about the rhyming patterns in the Shījīng. And the second evidence is from the xiéshēng series. The last one is the transcriptions of the late Han. I know today there are lots of experts of the transcriptions. So I'm really open and happy to hear some advice for this part because I'm not that expert in this area. So the first evidence is about the rhyme patterns in the Shījīng. So sometimes in Shījīng stanza, the S coda syllables can only rhyme with, non-S coda syllables. So like the 去痛 can rhyme with non-去痛, like 匪在匪来忧心恐惧. The 来 can rhyme with 救. The S syllable can rhyme with non-S syllables. But sometimes the S coda syllables can only rhyme with the S coda syllables, like in this 大雅大, and there are four 去声 syllables for Middle Chinese 去声 can rhyme with each other. The 类, 对, and 内. I think the first scholars who argue this question, maybe I think the Li Fangui is a very earliest one because he said sometimes we think maybe in the Old Chinese, the 去声 and non-去, they can rhyme with each other. It's free, but sometimes it's very strict that only 去 can only rhyme with the 去声. So I think there may be two categories. So for category one, the words can only rhyme exclusively with the other S coda words. In the category two, that the words that can rhyme with both S coda and non-S coda words. And because that we use Xilian method to analyze the Shījīng, so we always put them all Xilian, all of them together. So it's hard for us to separate them. So I just try to figure out which one can only rhyme with S coda and which one can rhyme with the non-S coda. So the method of the separation is that the first step is determining whether a word rhymes exclusively with S. So actually it's a kind of a difficult decision because a word might also can rhyme with non-S coda words, but due to the limitation of the occurrence in the Shījīng, so it appears coincidentally to rhyme only with S coda words. So in my study, if a word appears more than 3 and always rhyme with S coda words, I think it's like appears 3 times. All the 3 times rhyme with the S coda words. So I think it's reasonable to make a solid conclusion. However, since the very few rhyme words occur more than 3 times in the Shījīng, it's also very difficult to study this. So I try to analyze the rhyme words based on their xiéshēng series units. It's like in this xiéshēng series units, if all the words in this unit can only rhyme with the S coda words, so I think that could be solid. Otherwise, it cannot be the unambiguous reconstruction. And I try to give more materials to extend my evidence. So I also take the 楚辞韵读、群经韵读 and 先秦韵读 and other rhyming materials from the pre-Qin period to give them more evidence for the study. So I try to find out some words that can only rhyme with the S coda. So I find out there are 21 xiéshēng series. In this xiéshēng series, the word inside can only rhyme with the S coda word. The first one, I do not list all of them, but there's a part of them here. The first one is the ji, and the second one is the dui. For example, both these 2 ji appears in Shījīng 2 times, and all of the 2 times they rhyme with the qu. And so the whole xiéshēng series here only rhyme with qu. And for the dui xiéshēng series, so the first dui, like the response dui, like appears 3 times, and all of the 3 times rhyme with the qu tones. The second dui only appears 1 time, but in other pre-Qin texts, it appears 10 times, and these 10 examples always rhyme with the qùshēng. Yeah, so there's some other examples. So in all of this xiéshēng series, the word inside which appears in Shījīng can only rhyme with the qu tone words. Nearly no exception. So the 21 xiéshēng series is here. I list all of them. The details of the table I can, if you guys are interested in it, I will share you later. So there are 21 xiéshēng series here, and it's about 忌、对、类、似、贵、位、忌、讳, and some others, and to the the 易、岁、足. So the rhyming patterns are consistent across the entire xiéshēng series. And all of the words inside the xiéshēng series are exclusively rhyme with the S coda words. And I think this is a kind of unambiguous examples to show that some words can only rhyme with the coda S. And the second step is find some words can rhyme with non-coda S. This part is quite easy because if words 1 time rhyme with non-S coda words, I can say that it can rhyme with non-S coda words. But I try to list some words appears more frequently. So like the 是, 害, like the height total appear like 8 times in the Shījīng, and 5 of them rhyme with non-S coda words, and the shi occurs 7 times in Shījīng, and all of the 7 times rhymes with the non-S coda words, things like that. So I also list all of them. Yeah, I list all of them. So this is all the example. But we can say that in this part, I cannot group them in a xiéshēng series. So it's like they are sporadically distributed, but not occurs in one same xiéshēng series. It's different from the first category. I can give a xiéshēng series unit, but here I can't. They are just sporadically distributed and not cohesive unit within xiéshēng series. So it just seems to be an attribute of each individual word rather than a shared feature of the entire xiéshēng series to which it belongs. So in this category. So this is 2 categories based on the Shījīng rhyming patterns. The second evidence is about the xiéshēng series. So to further study the xiéshēng series whose words rhyme exclusive with S coda words in Shījīng, so I list the xiéshēng series corresponding to each word which can only rhyme with the S coda words. Additionally, I consult 说文解自然的广韵 to include all the words within each xiéshēng series and their corresponding tones as recorded in 切韵, and analyzing the tonal distribution across the different xiéshēng series. So actually, Schlüssler in 2009 also argues that these 2 types of xiéshēng series may reflect different codas during the Old Chinese period. He also noticed that in some xiéshēng series, there are only S coda, but in some xiéshēng series, there are not only include the qùshēng, but also include the pingshēng, shangshēng, and qùshēng. So that 21 xiéshēng series, which can only rhyme with the S coda words, I list all of them here, and most of them only contain the 去碰 words, like the 记, 对, 四, 贵, and 位. And there are some exceptions here. Some with 入. So actually, all of them are they are predominantly composed of qùshēng. The few qùshēng words present within this xiéshēng series are typically alternate readings of qùshēng words recorded in the guangyun. So it's like, for example, here, like the li in the, in the 万xiéshēng series. In the 万xiéshēng series, the li here are the alternate readings with the qu. So there are 易读 here, but not only the 入声. So most of the exceptions are the alternate readings, and some of it, for example, the li with the one with the kou. I forgot the Chinese reading of this. So this character with the kou is only record in 去声 in 传里万象名义 is the early rhyme book, but there are 2 readings in Guangyun. So maybe in the early stage there are only 1 readings. And another possibility is like this li with the mi in the left. In 说文, the meaning is the unit of the measurement, but in Guangyun, it's like the coarse grain. So it's possible as a borrowing to express a different concept, but not something is origin. So that is the xiéshēng series of the words which can only rhyme with the S-coda words. And here is the xiéshēng series of which can rhyme with non-S-coda words. We can see that in their xiéshēng series, I can find there are pingsheng, shangsheng in their xiéshēng series. Like I take the example like the ming always rhyme with the non-qu words, but in the xiéshēng series of the ming, there are something like ling, something like long. And the gu, there are something in the gu, the xiéshēng series of the gu, there are the pingtong words gu, or maybe shangtong words gu in their xiéshēng series. So that's all the example here. So give a summary. So there are two categories. For category 1, the S-coda words exclusively rhyme with other S-coda words in Shījīng, and the majority of words within their corresponding xiéshēng series are qùshēng. And for category 2, S-coda words can rhyme with non-S-coda words in Shījīng, and their xiéshēng series may include words from any tonal category in the Middle Chinese. So this is my summary so far. And the third evidence is from the transcriptions. So, so there are some examples from I think it's very beginning is about the Gandhari, and it's illustrated by the Bailey 1946. He just gave a lot of examples that Middle Chinese qùshēng words were used to represent sibilants or dental fractals. So, which showing some Middle Chinese qùshēng syllables still remain the S-coda. However, Schlüssler 2009 also pointed out that not all the Middle Chinese qùshēng words in the 3rd century transcriptions correspondent to S, some not correspondent to S. He gave an example like this. This is in his book. Some qu tone words in the 3rd century are not correspondence with the sibilants or the dental fractals, but with the I think something glottal, but it's different from others. The example here, like the da, xie, and the lu. The lu, the S here is correspondence with this, I think uvular or maybe some glottal voice, but not correspondence with the dental fractals. But most of the evidence from transcriptions is that there are some qu-tone words still can correspondence with the sibilant and dental fractals in Gandhari or maybe other transcriptions materials. And I list all of them here. The very famous examples is about the Mei. San Mei is the Mei correspondence with the Samazi. I don't know how to pronounce it. In the Sanskrit. And also Ti Wei, the Wei correspondence with the S. And yeah, there's a lot of examples here. Here is the Wei, Lei, and also Dui, Gui, Lai, Lei. So I just find there are many overlap with the words in the category 1. So such as Wei, Mei, Lei, Tui, Gui, Kui, Dui, and Wei. They are in the xiéshēng series in category 1, which can only run with the S-coda words, and in their xiéshēng series only include the S-coda words. So in other words, the words that correspond to the dental codas in transcriptions predominantly belong to the category 1. And the words that correspond to the non-dental codas, such as lu and fu, also overlap with the words listed in the category 2, which can rhyme with non-S coda words. And in their xiéshēng series, there are different tones in the Middle Chinese. So this is 2 categories. After I try to separate these 2 categories, I try to give the new reconstruction of the 2 categories. The first one is still the S coda. So for the S coda, it is similar to other dental codas, such as N and R, maybe, and E and the. So it's kind of a structural component of the syllables phonological system. It's including words in the category 1, which exclusively rhyme with other S coda words in Shījīng and in xiéshēng series. All of them in xiéshēng series are qùshēng. And in the transcriptions, this word corresponded to the dental codas. And the examples in this category, the S coda word is like lei, dui, gui. And another group I try to reconstruct is like the postcoda. And I just want to to note is that the schwa here is just the temporary placeholder. So I don't know which main vowel here is much better, but I think the schwa here is just like the pre-initial in the Baxter and Sagard 2014, they gave like the schwa after the pre-initial. So I think the schwa is a kind of temporary placeholder here. And it's not a coda in the main syllable, but rather an independent element appended. So it's including words can rhyme with non-S coda words, and their xiéshēng series may include words from any tonal category in the Middle Chinese. And in Han dynasty transcriptions, these words almost never correspond to the dental coda words. So examples are the lu, hai, and gu. So why I using the post coda for the second group? So why I reconstruct it like this? I gave the 5 reasons, but maybe due to the time limitation, I only explain 3 of them. Yeah, the first and most important reason is I think it can explain the rhyme patterns involving the non-S coda in Shījīng. So in the past, the instances where S coda words rhyme with non-S coda words were typically regarded as irregular patterns, or were interpreted as evidence that Old Chinese did not distinguish between the 2 types and allow them to rhyme freely. However, it's kind of weird that such irregular rhyming behavior appears only with the S coda words. So if S can rhyme with like k, so why like k, t cannot rhyme with each other? Because k, t, they are all the stops. And also, for the study of the imperfect rhyme in the other languages, there are hierarchy like the m and n are more common for the imperfect rhyming. And maybe n and d is the second things that come more easily to rhyme with each other together. But the s and the k, they're too far away. So why they can rhyme with each other together? So but there are another things is very important in Shījīng rhyming is that Shījīng does not consistently rhyme the final syllable, but it rhymes with the final stressed syllable. This is really important. So there are lots of examples for there. So in the poem, this is poem 19:8. So there are 3 hu'er in the end of this poem. And so the zhu, su, hua, they rhyme together. the hua is not important because hua is not the stressed syllable. Another example is that in the old 37, so the last two words is 节西 and 日野. They can rhyme with each other. Xi and Ye are different particle, but Jie and Ri can still rhyme with each other because they are both the last stressed syllable. So Shījīng is not the poem that rhyme with the last word, but it's the last stressed syllable. And also in the poem 209, 我恐汉以势力莫迁. So the Han rhyme with the qian. So although there is a yi after Han, but the real rhyming word is Han and qian. So if we considering postcoda as an unstressed syllable, the rhyme pattern involving non-S coda wouldn't be irregular anymore. So it's like if the is a attached element, so the non-S coda words rhyme with the S coda words. We can go back to the first example, lai and jiu. So it's just rhyme with the is not important because it's not the stressed part. Only the both stressed lai and jiu, they can rhyme with each other because they have the same stressed syllable. Yeah, I think this part is quite difficult to understand, but I try to the lai is like with the main vowel and the jiu is the main vowel shua add unstressed syllable sun. So they can rhyme with each other because the is not the stressed part. And another is, this is my system after, so I think there's no, actually in this system, there's no cluster anymore because the cluster is the main syllable at the post coda. There's no consonant cluster coda anymore. Yeah, and I try to give the example here, like the lu is the rock with the post coda, and the li is just rust like this. And I do not call the post coda suffix. It's because I cannot give the very correct function for this coda. I think it's just there are lots of function inside, and but I think in the books Baxter and Sagard in 2014, so there are some solid function for the S in their system, and there are lots of function, but I think this three, there are lots of solid patterns. So this three is the most solid one. So I pick this three, and I pick all the words out and try to figure out whether they can rhyme with the qù tone words, like the. Actually, I do not. It's hard to make the decision that in each poem, the chu should be the shao or the qù, because it's hard to make the decision. So whether it belongs to Middle Chinese shao, Middle Chinese qù, but I list all of them. But this character occur 6 times. Only none of them rhyme with qù, and du occurs 3 times. None of them rhyme with qù. It's something like that. So I think this can be the evidence to show that the words with the solid function of the morphology seldom rhyme with qùshēng. So in the nearly all instances, these words rhyme with non-S coda words. And I think the words reconstructed with a postcoda show a high degree to overlap with those that have been analyzed as bringing a morphological suffix s. So, and because of Middle Chinese qùshēng, so corresponding to different morphological functions in OC. So the S have a lot of function. So that's also a reason I put the temporary schwa here. So maybe in the early stage, there are some different vowel, but they merge to schwa later, like in the Shījīng period or the Old Chinese period. So I think the schwa here is a good choice, but maybe you can have the different opinion for that. And I think it can also explain the sound change from Old Chinese to Mid Chinese. So we all know that the S coda changed to the qùshēng from Old Chinese to Middle Chinese, but some of them have a E coda in Middle Chinese. Some just drop to the qùshēng. Sorry. So in Han Dynasty, only words with the S coda to correspond to the so only the coda S changed to the words with the E coda in Middle Chinese, but the post coda just dropped to the qùshēng. So I think it's about the compensatory lengthening after the S coda lost. So because the post coda is not the part of the main syllable, so it dropped and then it dropped. But for the coda S, when it drops in the syllable 1 to lengthening itself, so it add the E here. Yeah, I think it's a better explanation that why some has E after the main vowel, after the S drop, some not. But yeah, this is not the core evidence for my study, but I think it's also a good explanation here to do the things like this. So my conclusion is, so I try to give a new reconstruction of the traditional Old Chinese S by distinguishing two distinct categories, coda S and the post-coda S. The word with S coda, which exclusive rhyme with other S coda words. There are xiéshēng series that predominantly contain qùshēng words and exhibit a strong correspondence with dental codas in latent transcriptions. In contrast, post-coda words, which can freely rhyme with non-S coda, are found in xiéshēng series containing various tonal categories and rarely correspond to the dental codas in the transcriptions. So here's my new reconstructions, the examples. So, like the word 对, 位, 拜, 废, 会, 四, so they are S coda words. And the 命, 寿, 祝, 地, 列, this kind of words, they have the post coda. And so I think I want to show the minimal pair for the like maybe the 拜, 废, and 立, they are all maybe traditional TS words with the consonant cluster coda. But in my reconstructions, the 拜 and 废, they may only have S coda, but the 立, like this kind of word, is the T coda and post coda. So they're different.